everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to do your tie-dye pencil case. So you'll need your pencil case, you'll also need your tie-dye bag, which has got all your dyes in it and the little bottles to put the powders in, and you'll have a pair of gloves in there. You will have elastic bands. You will also have a booklet that tells you different designs that you can do. These are all, the designs in here are mainly for t-shirts because the pencil case is quite small. So what I will be doing today, I will be doing a stripy pencil case for you. You will also have some glow in the dark tie-dye paint. We will come back to that later in the video. But for now, I've already mixed up 2 tie-dye colours and I'm going to do the third one now. So we're going to pop our gloves on. You don't have to wear the gloves if you don't want to, but it's just to stop the dye going on your hands. It does stain a bit, but it will come off with soap and hot water. So I am just going to cut open the corner of this powder sachet ready to pop it in. I'm going to fill this up with water. I'm only going on these bottles. I'm not sure if you can see. There's like a paint splash design, so you want your water no higher than the top of that paint splash. So I'm going to pop some in. Here we are, there's my water now filled up. You can see it comes just to the top of the paint splash. And then we're going to add in our dye. So we're just going to add this in. And this bit's a bit fiddly if you're wearing the gloves. Also with these dyes, it's easier to have a smaller hole for the powder to come out of. I know it'll take longer, but the hole in the top of the bottles are not very big. And so if you make a huge hole, you'll end up missing some of the powder. It doesn't particularly matter if you lose some of the powder when you're doing this, you'll still have plenty in there to use. For this, I'm just going to take my glove off a minute because it's a bit easier. Oops. And then you're going to screw that on, and you just cut this little tab where the lid is. You can cut it, or you can just actually place it over the top and make sure, the most important bit in this is that the lid is screwed on, because you'll put dye all over the place and that won't be very good. So we're just going to give this a nice good shake. I'm going to mix all the powder. Now that's done. What we're going to do now is we're going to wet this. Now I choose, you can either run this under the tap, that is totally fine, or you can use a sponge and water, which is what I'm going to do, so I can control how wet I want it to be, because you don't actually need it soaking wet. It's a bit different when you do t-shirts because they're bigger, so you do need them really, really wet for the dye, but because we're working on something small, it's okay really to use a sponge and water. You can already see I accidentally dropped some purple dye on there, so it's actually already started to bleed in and on the front. But that's okay, because the thing about tie-dye is no two things are the same, and they're nice and colourful. So what I'm going to do with my elastic bands now is I'm going to roll this up. I'm going to roll it into a sausage shape, like so. You might want to roll it the other way, so the short way, but I'm going to do it this way. And then I'm just going to get my elastic band and I'm going to tie it around here. And what this will mean is wherever I've put an elastic band, there'll be no dye on it, okay? Or no obvious, I know I spilt some at the start, but there won't be dye, big blobs of dye. The pattern will be stripy then because you'll have white bits and dark bits. So you're going to do this all the way along. You can choose any design you like. You can do this without elastic bands and still make a fantastic tie-dye. Tie-dye just makes it a bit easier. Elastic bands make tie-dye a bit easier because it means you've got a place you know is not going to get covered in tie-dye, but you can do it without, and it still does work. It's just a bit tricky, a bit more tricky, but we're going to do this. And I have left a bit of a space because obviously the closer together you have the elastic bands, the closer together the stripes will be. So I've done them sort of, I mean, you might only want 3 stripes, but I've gone for quite a few stripes on mine, and I'm going to continue till this is all tied up. Nearly done, a couple more. Now you can, if you want as well, you can do the darker colours first and let them dry, and then you come back and you do the light colours, because sometimes what happens is the darker colours will bleed into the lighter colours when you're doing it, if you're doing them all in one go. But that's okay too, because I did it with this top. I just went, went with all the colours. So we're just going to, I've got one more band. Obviously, the tighter you've got the elastic band, the more chance of it'll come out in a stripy pattern. Because sometimes if you put the elastic bands on too loose, the dye will go underneath, so it'll bleed a bit, but you'll still have a stripe, it just won't be as solid. So I've now got my sausage shape, and I've got it so all the elastic bands. I've chose to put the zip on the inside of this just now, but it doesn't matter if you've got the zip so it's facing outwards, that is okay. So I'm now going to take my colours. And we're going to start on our tie-dye. You'll have 3 colours in total. You'll have a light blue, a dark blue and a purple. And you're just going to, a little goes a long way with these. Oops. And you can squeeze a little bit and get it all, because it's, I'm just going to wear one glove, and that's just to hold it, because I find it easier to control the dye bottle if I've not got if I'm got 2 gloves on, I find it quite difficult to control. So as you can see, there's my one colour, and then we're going to go to purple, I think. And you can always, if you want brighter colours, what you can do, so if you wanted the purple to be a bit brighter, because this isn't a very bright purple, it looks it now because it's wet, but what you can do is when they're dried, is you can come back, and before you take the bands off again, you can give them another coat of dye. And that'll make the colours a bit stronger and a bit brighter. But these ones actually are quite nice and bright, particularly the blue ones. They're quite dark. So we're just gonna keep going with this, and I chose to go with doing it in stripes in different colours. So and these will last, they maybe won't last overnight. Well, they will, they'll last overnight, so you'll be able to use them in the morning, but I wouldn't use them any later than 24 hours after you decide to put the powder in, because it just, you can still use them, it just means that the colour won't be as good, the pigment in it won't be as good, so the colour, because the powder activates with the water to give you the colour, so it just won't be as strong, but you certainly can use it the next day if you want to add more colour, or you want to make it a bit, a bit brighter here and there. Also, I am actually wearing old clothing. You can choose to wear an apron if you so wish. This dye will come out of your clothes, but it might take a couple of goes in the wash. But I'm not wearing an apron because the clothes I've got are old and they're tie-dye. So if I got any tie-dye on this top, it wouldn't be too bad because it's already got different colours on it anyway. So I am now going to leave this to dry. So that's all done. You can see my colours are striping. I'm going to leave this to dry. And then once it's dry, I will come and show you how to use the glow-in-the-dark tie-dye on it once it's dry. Hello everyone. So I'm back now, and our pencil case has now dried off. So I'm going to remove the elastic bands from here to reveal the design. Now, this is a bit fiddly, but I'm just going to take all of these off before, and hopefully, because what we're going to do now, this is only optional, you don't have to. In your pack, there is also a glow-in-the-dark spray, which will mean that when you spray it on here and you turn the lights out, it'll glow. And the spray, I will show you, the spray looks just like this. Okay, and you'll need to give that a really good shake. And then you need to spray, you'll need to put out papers and things to protect where you're working, just because this stuff might stain. So I've also got some stuff on the floor. So we're going to unroll our pencil case here that I tie-dyed. And there we go, you see there's my stripes on my pencil case. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray. Now you can either do a design with this tie-dye so that when you turn the lights off there's a design. I am just gonna spray a little bit, and I might do it in the stripes. So if you can see here where it's a bit whiter, I'm gonna spray a little bit down there of this spray. I recommend you try not to get the spray on the zip because it may stop it working when it dries. So you just give it a really good shake. And then you want to spray, you want to be not too far away from where you are, and you'll see it coming out of the spray. And I'm just spraying in stripes. on here on both sides. Now you won't see anything until it's dried. So that has now been sprayed with the glow in the dark spray. So you need to let that completely dry out, and you need to iron it to do what's called setting the spray. It just means that the spray won't run at all, and things like that. So I hope you've had fun with this video, and I can't wait to see all your fantastic designs when you finish. Hope you have fun.